that I think it was either last week or the week before, when I was talking about one of my all-time heroes, Václav Havel, who was the former president of the Czech Republic, and before that, Czechoslovakia. And Václav Havel always talked in terms of the people dying for the utopian dreamer, of the people dying for those who want to take up arms for their idealism. And I was deeply touched by what he said, but also because it reconciled itself with a statement by our own John Hume. And John Hume, at the end of his speech one time, said, "It's not the gunmen who are dying for the people. It's the people who are dying for the gunmen." And nothing could have been truer than that. That when you look at the statistics of all those who died in the Northern Ireland conflict, the overwhelming majority of people were ordinary, innocent Catholic and Protestants. It doesn't matter about what religion they were. And they were killed mostly by the gunmen for their utopian dream. And John Hume was profoundly brilliant when he added that onto a speech he made. I personally think it should be engraved everywhere, what John Hume said. But what I'm sure some of you might think, where did John Hume hear that line from? Well, the man who created that line was the Irish playwright, Dublin playwright, Sean O'Casey, very famous playwright. You don't see a lot of his plays produced now, but he wrote some of the most brilliant of Irish theatre. Ploughing the Stars, Juno and Peacock, and, of course, Shadow of a Gunman, one of my all-time favourite plays. And it's from Shadow of a Gunman that that line comes from. So I'm going to deliver for you the context of that profoundly brilliant line. And you see, the two main characters in the play are Donald Davern and Seamus Shields. And they're sharing a room in a Dublin tenement. Donald is an aspiring poet. And Seamus, who at one time was a patriot, is now more into religious experiences and the supernatural, and is really concerned about a continuous knocking on the wall that he hears day in, day out, which he believes doesn't all go well. So Donald Davern and Seamus Shields are people of intellectual and cultural ambition and insight, who could be leaders in the eyes of any community. They share certain qualities. Seamus, Shields and Donald. Seamus was active and he's cultured. As he says himself in one line, "I used to teach Irish 6 nights a week." He asked Davern to clarify a question about Orpheus, but the latter doesn't know the answer. And Seamus also dabbles in Shakespeare. So you can see he's a cultured lad who spends most of his day in bed. And Donald, as I said, is the aspiring poet. So Davern asks Seamus, when they're worried about a raid by the Black and Tans and all the shooting that's going on, because this is in the middle of the Irish War of Independence. And Davern says, "I remember the time when you yourself believed in nothing but the gun." Seamus, yeah. But that was when there wasn't a gun in the country. Oh, I have a different opinion now that there's nothing but guns in the country. And you daren't open your mouth for Kathleen Houlihan is a very different now to the woman who used to play the harp and sing, we ban, your hour is past. For she's a raging devil now, at her, she's sure to punch you in the eye. But this is the way I look at it. I look at it this way. You're not going to beat the British Empire by shooting an occasional Tommy at the corner of an occasional street. Besides, when the Tommies have the wind up, they let bang at everything. They don't give a God's curse who they plug. It's the civilians that suffer. When there's an ambush, they don't know where to run. Shot in the back to save the British Empire, and shot in the breast to save the soul of Ireland. I'm a nationalist myself, right enough. A nationalist enough, but all the same, I believe in the freedom of Ireland, and that England has no right to be here. But I draw the line when I hear the gunmen blowing about, dying for the people. When it's the people that are dying for the gunman. With all due respect to the gunman, I don't want them to die for me. Sean O'Casey.